What's up, brothers and sisters? My name is Rod. I'm your happy hippie, and welcome back, my friend, to the show that never ends. I know I just did a video. Cheers, by the way. I know I just did a video, a contest entry, but this is some vinyl finds, and I usually limit the vinyl find videos to one a month. But I've already had a really good first 3/4 of September. So I'm going to go ahead and do one. I got a small stack, and there was about 17 or 18 albums in this stack. And the person wanted $10. And two of them, the covers were completely trashed in the album, and one was cracked, so it went in the trash. And the other one, I can't sell it, I can't play it, so I set that aside. And there's a couple more I stuck in my booth, a couple 12-inch singles. But these, now remember, $10. Donna Summer, the original insert. The album itself looks like it was never played. Donna Summer, some early 80s, 82. Disco, kind of after disco died out, but she was still putting out fantastic albums. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but it came in a pile for $10, and this is going to make great VLCT, or I'm going to flip it. There is an antique festival coming up the second week of October in Clinton, Tennessee, and that may go in a box to sell. Also in the box, Manfred Mann. The Good Earth is the name of the album, and this is kind of prog rock, kind of psychedelic. I'm sure all of you, I don't have to explain who Manfred Mann is. This is a fantastic album, and this is one I almost just was going to put in the flip pile, and I said I'm going to give it a listen to, and man, it blew me away. I am keeping this one. This came in the $10 pile, and this did as well. And this is another one I'm keeping. Traffic, Last Exit. Someone bought this at Kmart back in the day for $3.33. Would that not be the coolest thing in the world if you could still walk into a Kmart, if they even exist, and buy new vinyl for $3.33? Traffic, it's not one of their best albums, but it was a very cool listen, and to be in a $10 pile. And this blew me away to be in there. Bob Dylan, Infidels. Album is in perfect condition. I cleaned it up. Infidels, it came out right after he made a trilogy of Christian albums. He made 3 Christian albums from 79 to like 82 or 83. And the name Infidel, people were wondering, is he denouncing his faith by coming out with it? But it has some strong, what's the word I'm looking for? Religious kind of views inside the lyrics. So it is a secular album. It has Mark Knopfler playing on it. Fantastic album, man. Joker Man's on here. What else we got? License to Kill. Sweetheart Like You. Man of Peace. Great song, Man of Peace. Anyway, Bob Dylan and a stack of albums for $10. To me, it's a $10 album. I would have paid $10 just for this. Yeah, this is definitely going in my collection of Bob Dylan. The Lost Boys soundtrack was in this stack. Remember, folks, all this for $10. This is a fantastic soundtrack. I listened to it after I bought it, and my first thought was, I could sell this. It's $10. And I listened to it. I'm like, there's no way I'm selling it. I'm keeping this album. It's actually selling on eBay for about $15. That's what people were getting. So that's a keeper. The Lost Boys soundtrack. Great movie from the 80s. I remember it well. Peter Frampton, that's a flip. That's definitely a flip. And last but not least, Elvis Presley, a double record set live, and this is going to be a flip. So out of all these, I'm keeping what, 3 of them, 4 of them, and for $10, that was really worth it for me. And moving forward, these were not part of that lot, but there's some I've picked up recently. Picked up a copy of Little Feat, Sailing Shoes. I've always loved that album cover. This is a solid Southern rock album. Probably the best Southern rock band, in my opinion. I was living in Maryland, right outside of D.C., and these guys had a huge following in Virginia, in Maryland, in the metro area. And when they played D.C. back in the 80s, they played 7 shows in like 8 days at the Warner Theater. And they all were sold out. Lowell George died, of course, back in the late 70s, and he was still with them on this album. Check out Little Feat if you're not into them. You like that southern boogie woogie, kind of a blues rock. This band was the Shadizzle guys. Little Feat. I'm real glad to add that to my collection. Found this one for $5. Now the album isn't pretty. I won't pull it out. It's the original stereo version, which is cool. The cover's got some damage to it. Got a little damage to the cover. It cleaned up. It plays, and this is a temporary copy until I can find a good copy. The Bee Gees' first album, some psychedelic stuff. The book, 100 Best Psych Albums of All Times. This was rated in there. Definitely worth your time. And another one I picked up, Pink Floyd Metal, Gatefold. It's not an original issue, but it is an early release. Probably second or third pressing of the album Metal. I believe Oddbox Topper said this was one of his favorite Pink Floyd albums, and I can see why. I had this when I was a kid, and it's one of those albums I don't know what happened to it. And I remember the one song on the album that takes up the whole B-side, I never listened to. I guess I didn't have the patience to get through it all. But I do now, and I really appreciate this album today. But how long? 40 years ago? I'm old. At 13, I could not get into that second side, that one song on it. Cheap Trick, live at Budokan. I have to take this one out. It's a gatefold. I'm sure almost everybody in the VC owns this album. If you don't, you know somebody who does. Had it when I was a teenager, and I've got it back again at a very good price. And I've said before that I had a record collection that I lost. I'll get more into that at the end of this video of why I lost them. Stax. This is a Record Store Day release. This was on my list to get, but it wasn't high on my list. Gatefold. Brand new copy. I got it on eBay for just a silly low price. Cheaper than it was selling for in the record stores. Stack does the Beatles. What song? Something by Isaac Hayes. He just kills it. And the one song on here that was not a Beatles song, it was a George Harrison song, My Sweet Lord. John Gary Williams, who I had never heard of, he just kills it. Stax. You could find this guy's really inexpensive now. And I'm glad I waited on Record Store Day. Record Store Day, I had limited myself to like $120, and that's all I was going to spend that day. And there were 2 albums that were on my list that I could not get because I could not find them. And one was The Grateful Dead, and one was Alice Cooper. Somebody ended up giving me The Grateful Dead as a VCLT. Thanks, Mike. I got 4, 5 that I really wanted, and this was one that I wanted, but it wasn't that high up. You know, I'd rather have Jeff Tweedy and who else did I get? The Pink Floyd and stuff like that over this. But I got it now. Still hunting that Alice Cooper, and I got faith I'm going to find that Alice Cooper Record Store Day release. Anyway, moving forward in the video. Bruce Cockburn, $1. Cool album cover. Is a cool guy. This album's not that bad. He had a song called Rocket Launcher, and it's like an 8-minute song. And when I was in radio, that was the perfect cigarette break. You put that song on. Great album, Bruce Cockburn. Rocket Launcher, man. He had a lyric in this song where if I had a rocket launcher, some son of a bitch would die. I always found that really amusing. And anyway, Bill Evans. In fact, we have Bill Evans playing in the background before I get a copyright strike. Bill Evans Trio, Portrait and Jazz. Great album. Just got this one in the mail. 180 grams. Can y'all hear it? Fudge, man. This is such a good album. I'm really getting into Bill Evans. Also picked this one up. Got this off eBay. And the seller on eBay lied and said it was perfectly mint. It was mint condition. Well, lo and behold, there's a small seam split. The album's really good. I won't call it mint. And he didn't even put an insert in the album. He just mailed it to me with an album stuck in there, no insert, no packing. And I'm not going to say the guy's name, but man, he did me dirty. But it was fairly inexpensive, so I don't hold grudges. I just won't buy from that cat again. And you know how watching other people's videos, you could be influenced or persuaded to buy a certain album. Well, that happened to me. I was watching Melinda Murphy, and she showed this album and said she just got it on. Great album. Jimi Hendrix. Everyone knows this album. This copy came with a little booklet where she said she got it for like $12 on eBay. And she said, you can still get it, guys. So I put her video on pause. Boom. I'm serious. I flipped over to eBay, my account. Or was it Amazon? It was Amazon. My bad. She said Amazon. I went to Amazon, and sure enough, I found it for $12.99. I have Amazon Prime, so it was free shipping. So $13. Jimi Hendrix, Axis, Bold as Love. Great album. Thanks for the heads up on that, Melinda. Because it's an album I had. Again, I no longer had. I wanted it. And she turned me on to the price, and I had to get it. You know, this album cover, it was designed by the record label. He said he wanted something to represent his Indian heritage, and he meant Native American Indian. Well, a month or so went by and they brought it back to him, and it's not what he wanted, but he loved it. He thought it was really psychedelic. And he said, yeah, let's roll with it. So that's the story behind the album cover. Greatest guitar player that ever lived, Jimi Hendrix. And I'm glad to get a copy of this. It's a very loud copy, if you know what I mean. Very strong copy. And the last two albums I want to show, I got a good deal on these two. The Beatles, first album, it's in mono. Not in the best of shape. Either is this one. 62 through 66. But for the price I got them, I could not say no. And I've got another copy of this in my booth, and I may switch those out. This one I'm going to hold on to until I get a better copy, because I love the album, but it's not in real good shape. And once I get a good copy, this will go in a flip bin. Well, that's all the albums I had. But I'll show you a couple of CDs. Can y'all get the CD, the 3D effect? I'll take it out of its packaging. Grateful Dead. It's the 50th anniversary. Anthem of the Sun. Fantastic box set, great packaging. Double CD set. One of the CDs is the original mixing of it. Evidently there was a problem. The record label didn't like the mix of it, and they went back and redid it. So if you can get an early copy, it's much more psychedelic. But anyway, the Grateful Dead eBay buy. And these are from a friend of mine. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. Really cool CD. Great packaging, like it was never played. And last but not least, Acid Eaters, the Ramones. I love the Ramones, guys. High school, this was the stuff, man. So, Acid Eaters. So that's my recent finds. And I hope everyone's had a great month so far of record collecting and just living your life. Now I'm going to tell a little story about why I lost my record collection. The first one I had got rid of was all hardcore, all punk, and there was about 60, 70 albums of some hardcore and punk, and I was going through some changes. I wasn't listening to it anymore, and someone offered me a certain amount of money. I forget what it was for the whole lot, and I was like, okay, because I was planning to go see, I think it was the Dead and Dylan together, and I needed some spending money. But then I rebuilt a hell of a record collection, and I probably had about $500 or $600, and we lost all of them in a move to Texas. I'm talking Johnny Winter original issues, some beat. I don't even want to get into it because it makes me sick. But I lost my entire collection. Pink Floyd's that I had got in junior high school. Ramones albums, the original issues that I had got. Looking back on it, I'm still sad. It kind of broke my heart, man, because I'd love to have those albums back. You don't know what happened. When you're paying people to move you, you have to take that risk. And the whole box just into thin air. Sometimes I forget everything I had, but then I see an album and it reminds me, oh God, I had that. Plus, over the years, I've given so many albums away. I've always been that way. Someone says, hey, Bear, dude, I love Elvis. Well, I take it. I don't listen to it. But then in Texas, when I was in radio, we built up a CD collection, probably 1,000 CDs. And I mean, I got an extra copy of everything that came out. Everything that came out, they wanted you to play. They would always give you an extra copy. And eventually we moved to Tennessee from Texas. So from D.C. to Texas to Tennessee. When we got here, we hit some hard times, and I slowly sold off huge chunks of my CD collection, which I won't do that anymore. And that just, when you're raising kids and you need money, you got to do what you got to do. And when you could take freaking a big box of CDs that you got for free and get $500 for them to go to the electric bill and food, you got to do what you got to do. So that's how I lost all my CDs. Then I got really into a career outside of radio. I started managing restaurants of all things, and I had no time for music. I worked 12-hour days. I was dedicated to that job, and I was dedicated to my family. So I spent like 15 years. I did not even have a record player. I did not have a CD player. No music whatsoever. And from an ex-DJ, an ex-music head, deadhead, I mean, I really got boring. I mean, I was listening to talk radio, for God's sakes, because I was so burnt out on classic rock. But a few years ago, when I gave up working for other people, making another man rich, and started working for myself, so to speak, I started rebuilding my collection. Buying them piece by piece at flea markets, yard sales, other antique shops, trading a lot of stuff. Like these shelves behind me, what did I trade for it? It was something stupid. To me, I traded like a bottle collection, like some old Dr. Peppers and some Mountain Dews. I mean, it was several bottles. But and that's how I roll, man. I buy, swap, and trade all day long. I have a booth in an antique shop. A friend of mine owns the shop. I work for him on Saturdays. The rest of the time, I'm just doing my own thing, and that's the way I like to roll. So If you're ever in Clinton, Tennessee, or even close by, get off the interstate and come in and see us. Randall Weaver, how you doing, brother? Love his videos. Randall Weaver, he's stopped in before. It's a great shop. 3 stories of antiques, 3 floors of antiques. I've got the record booth in the basement. We have a coffee shop. And the second week in October, we're having an antique festival. The entire town. There are going to be food trucks and vendors from all over. So you probably get some good deals on records. But I know this was longer than my usual videos. I don't like to go this long, but I'm rambling, and I want to thank everybody. I'm coming up on 1 year in the VC who has subscribed to my videos. I did this on a whim one night with my daughter, Courtney. I never dreamed. I've almost got 300 subs. I never thought I'd get 3. So throw a shout out to the people I first started watching. Channel 33. Love that channel. Frank, you're awesome. Oddbox Topper, you were the very first. Mr. Hall of Fame. And, dude, Brandon, you got it going on. When Brandon at Mr. Hall of Fame did his room tour, I was drooling. Did anyone else see that video? Also, Dylan, Noble Records, you the man. Good luck with your record store. In fact, I just ordered a shirt from you. I'm looking forward to getting that. Peace. God bless everybody. Assalamu alaikum. And be good to everybody.